I'm going to be speaking to you for a few minutes about how teachers know what to teach and when they need to teach it. So every grade level subject or high school course has a designated set of standards that they are to follow throughout the school year. Teachers are guided by these educational standards, and they outline and describe what students are supposed to be able to do or know whenever that particular grade level or that course is completed. So teachers or teams of teachers use these standards to design the curriculum because the standards don't really provide a lot of information about how to convey this information. So the curriculum basically provides an overview of what the teacher needs to do to satisfy the standards and meet those goals set by the state. And so the curriculum is then divided into a series of unit plans. And unit plans vary in length, and they can go from a few days to a couple of weeks. It really just depends on the type of information or the topic that this teacher is trying to cover. Typically, at the end of each unit plan, there is some sort of assessment to see what the student learning has been. And so the unit plan is then further broken down into lesson plans. And lesson plans are basically a daily snapshot of what's happening in that classroom on a particular day during a lesson. And a lesson plan involves a few different components. It will have the standard that the teacher is trying to satisfy. It also has some learning objectives for the students. And lastly, it involves the activities that's happening during the day. So not only is it a guide for the teacher and their lesson for the day, but it also will be evidence of what the teacher is doing and how they're trying to meet those standards. So standards and unit plans, lesson plans, they can all feel pretty abstract unless you are able to see them. And so at the bottom of your page, I've included an example of a unit plan from a third grade teacher in the Chapel Hill area. This unit plan is on fractions, and you can kind of see how all of this fits in and how it's actually used in a classroom. So again, all of this can feel a little bit abstract, so I want to provide an example of a standard that many of us in Carolina Navigators may have an influence on. So for example, a standard in 6th grade social studies looks like this. One of, at least, of the standards look like this. Explain how the behaviors and practices of individuals and groups influenced societies, civilizations, and regions. So that's clearly a really big topic to cover, and it doesn't provide a lot of specific information about how a teacher is supposed to satisfy that goal. So in North Carolina, most of the standards are supplemented with clarifying objectives. There's usually about 3 of them, and it provides a little bit more specific information about what a teacher can do. And so a clarifying objective for that particular standard looks like this. Analyze how cultural expressions reflected the values of civilizations, societies, and regions by looking at things like oral traditions, art, dance, music, literature, architecture, etc. So it provides just a little bit more information for the teacher. Another clarifying objective is explain how religion transformed various societies, civilizations, and regions. For example, looking at beliefs, practices, and the spread of Buddhism, Christianity, Confucianism, Hinduism, Islam, and Judaism. So again, just a little bit more specific information for a teacher and how they can achieve that goal, and a little bit more information about what the state of North Carolina is actually looking for. So a teacher is not necessarily confined to only those objectives. He or she can choose to go above and beyond and broaden these objectives, but at the end of the day, this is what the state is expecting. So whenever every 6th grader completes that grade, and specifically social studies in 6th grade, which focuses on world history, he or she is expected to satisfy these standards before they're able to move on to 7th grade. So, to further complicate things, in North Carolina, we have two different types of standards in the K-12 schools. So before 2010, everything in North Carolina had a set of essential standards. So regardless of your course or your grade level, everyone has a designated set of standards provided by the Department of Public Instruction in North Carolina. In 2010, North Carolina, along with 41 other states in the country, decided to join with a more of a national set of standards, and this is called the Common Core. Common Core is again, a national set of standards that cover mathematics and the language arts. And so regardless of whatever grade level you teach, if you teach math or you teach language arts or English, then you will need to adhere to these set of standards. Other than mathematics and the language arts, all the other subjects in K-12 schools still have a North Carolina set of standards. So regardless if it's theater, the arts, foreign language, social studies, science, we will still see the standard course of study provided by the state of North Carolina. And so it just depends on what your target area is and what kinds of standards you want to be able to cover. So regardless of whatever you teach in North Carolina, you have to justify what you're doing in your classroom by these standards. And everything is to hopefully prepare your students to satisfy these standards. So as you are creating your products for the semester, it will be very helpful to keep these things in mind. I have included some links below that will provide a little bit more information about the standard course of study in North Carolina, Common Core, and also a couple more resources that teachers may use that will be helpful to them in their lesson planning, such as LearnNC. So if you'd like to explore, those links are below. And I hope that this helps clarify standards for you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask.